A context-free grammar, or a grammar, is the specification of a language. In this video, we're going to go through 3 examples to see if 3 different strings of terminals are valid for a given language. The language we're going to look at is here on the left with this grammar. It has 4 production rules. Recall that each production rule has a non-terminal on the left, has an arrow, which means can have the form, and then a list of non-terminals and terminals on the right. And so let's look at the first string of non-terminals, 3 minus 2 plus 4. So we know that 3 can have the form of digit. So if you look here, we know that digit can take the form of a 3, which is in there in the ellipses. Okay, so this is a digit. And we can do the same thing for the others. Okay, so now let's see what we can do with 3 minus 2. That's a digit minus a digit. We don't have any production rules that have digit minus a digit on the right-hand side. But what we do have is a list minus a digit. So can we convert that 3 to a list? And yes, we can. We have list can have the form of a digit. So we're going to say this is a list. And we'll leave these as digits. Now we have this list minus digit, which is here, and a list can take the form of a list minus a digit. So we can turn this into a list. And similarly, we can turn the list plus the digit into a list by production rule number 1. And that is our start symbol. And so this is a valid string of non-terminals for that language. Now what we should have done actually is listed which production rule we're using for each of these steps. So that was production rule number 4. This next one is going to be production rule number 2. And this uses production rule number 1 to come up with just the list. Now we're doing this kind of informally. We will learn algorithms, specific algorithms that will allow us to do this without error, without just trying to figure things out. But for right now, let's do a couple more kind of informally. So 8 plus 4 minus 7, we can turn all of those into digits. And that's using production rule number 4. I messed this up. This is turning a digit into a list, which is production rule number 3. This is turning list minus digit into a list, which is production rule number 2, and then production rule number 1. Okay, so now back to the second example. We have a digit plus a digit. Can we do that? No, but we can turn that digit into a list. And that's using production rule number 3. And we can turn a list plus a digit into a list, because a list can have the form of list plus digit. So list minus digit, that's production rule number 1, and then we can turn that into a list using production rule 2. Okay, let's look at the final example. We can turn the 5 into a digit. We can turn the 3 into a digit. We can turn the 5 into a list and leave the 3 as a digit. But there is no production rule with anything like this on the right-hand side. It looks like we're stuck. We can't proceed farther. And so this is not a valid series or sequence of non-terminals. Of terminals, excuse me. So not valid.